we're gonna talk quickly about House Speaker Mike Johnson. Okay, so he just was reelected as Speaker. Trump backed him, and Mike Johnson, he hyped up the Republican. I'm reading from Fox News, right? Hyped up Republicans' ambitious agenda for the new year and pledged to take aim at the deep state through their legislative endeavors. All right, so this is him on Fox. Let's hear what he has to say. It's about a minute long, and we'll listen to it. Okay, there we go. And
it'll have a lot of pieces. We made a lot of campaign promises. President Trump did as well. And reconciliation is the way to get it done. Why? Because you avoid a 60-vote threshold in the Senate. So reconciling the budget, which we will pass in early February, is how we'll get all of our committees involved, committees of jurisdiction on all these big issues. What are they? Well, obviously, we have to secure the border. We've got to make sure that our Border Patrol agents and our immigration enforcement agencies have the right directives from the White House, but also the right resources to do their job and secure that border once and for all. We've got to take care of the dangerous illegal criminals who have come over, and all that's part of it as well. And we've got to shift immediately to the economy. Maria, you talk about every day. We've got to revive.
They're going to lead with the border. I mean, Trump wants to put this all together in one big, and they want to do it through reconciliation. So just so we're clear, if budget reconciliation can avoid the filibuster. I got a definition here. Budget reconciliation is a special parliamentary procedure of the United States Congress set up to expedite the passage of certain federal budget legislation in the Senate. The procedure overrides the Senate's filibuster rules, which may otherwise require a 60-vote supermajority for passage. So basically, it's the money issues, and filibuster. You need 60 votes in order to go to the vote. So it's hard to get 60. But if it's under reconciliation, you don't have that 60 limit filibuster rule, so you can go to vote even though before you get 60. So a simple majority will pass it under reconciliation. It's smart, and if it deals with federal budget and legislation, then they can use reconciliation, and that's what Mike Johnson is saying they're going to do. So he's talking about the border, and he's going to go right into spending here.
The U.S. economy, and we know how to do it. Part of that is preventing the largest tax increase in U.S. history, which would happen automatically at the end of next year if we don't get our ducks in a row. So we're going to make sure that happens. We're going to incentivize American companies to manufacture in the U.S. again, and we're going to make sure that the regulatory burden and the red tape that has smothered our free market is reduced and eliminated. And we're going to be dismantling the deep state all along the way. We're going to restore American energy dominance.
All right. It's good, familiar themes, right? So get rid of the regulations, Bezos, right? That's something he was applauding Trump for. Again, Musk and Ramaswamy with Dodge. You have to incentivize corporations to come and stay in the United States and send this, and that results in jobs. You can't let this the tax increase take place by not continuing it. So I mean, these are all fundamental things. You have to keep the more money that people have in their pocket, the more they can invest in their community, invest in their business, invest in their home, and all that results in more transactions. Which opposite. Milton Friedman, that's his point. You need to have the actual resource. You can't. There's no Santa Claus or Tooth Fairy. Okay, you can't just rely on the government printing money. So decrease the taxes, decrease the size of government, get rid of the waste, close the border, which has a huge financial consequence. This open border, right? People just go to the emergency room, come into public schools. Illegal immigrants just going into the public school. Are those illegal immigrants paying tax dollars into the public school? No. Are those illegal immigrants paying money that's going to support the local hospital? No. So who pays for it? The taxpayer. So all these issues are connected. That's why it's so out of control, because all those issues were just running wild. Now you rein them all in. You rein in the taxes. You rein in the regulatory restrictions. You rein in the censorship. You emphasize free speech. You emphasize the entrepreneurial spirit. You emphasize fair play. You emphasize choice and options and personal freedoms. That results in creativity and spending resources in a positive way, spending time and energy, not your time and energy trying to avoid taxes, not your time and energy trying to get around regulations, time and energy to think how can I avoid the government from interfering with me. And you spend that energy in being creative and expanding your business, new customers, and then getting money and saying, how can I expand my house, which results in the contractor coming down the street and having to build a deck, and he gets paid, and then he hires 2 guys to work for him to build the deck, and on and on and on. It works. It's always worked. But this myth, the Milton Friedman tooth fairy comment, the Santa Claus comment, is really, really right on. There's somebody I know very well, and they're young, and they said, it really hurts my heart. It hurts me when they talk. Well, the government will just spend it. The government will just, they really believe this. The money has to come from somewhere. That's why having gold-backed, right, dollar, right, was so important. Now it's nothing. And that Bitcoin, and now we have all these other manifestations of monetary policy. Because at the end of the day, if you and I lived out in the frontier, and I made bread and you made candles, you would give me the amount of candles for the amount of bread that you think it's worth. And if I asked for too many candles, then you'd say no. Or if you asked for too much bread in exchange for only 2 candles, I'd say no. So you find and you barter and you say, okay, 2 candles, half a loaf. Good, yes. We lose that connection. And now with electronic, right? Apple Pay and credit card, don't take cash. I mean, places not taking cash, which is not allowed, by the way. They have to take cash. Dollars, this is legal tender. They have to take it. That's a whole nother point. So let's wrap up Mike Johnson here, and then we'll move on.
So many different pieces to this, Maria. They all have to work together. And of course, the president has asked us and really needs us to address the debt limit crisis before that hits in June. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things to negotiate, a lot of opinions on all that. So we'll be working long hours with whiteboards, making sure every Republican is on board. Because remember, I'll be dealing with the smallest margin in U.S. history for much of the first 100 days. But we're going to get it done.
All right. So there we go. So there's Mike Johnson. And let me get rid of the share. So, and he does that little reminder at the end. That's political. I like this guy. He's a nice guy, I think. But he wants to remind the voters that he's got the smallest majority in history. So don't yell at him. I don't like that comment. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, and we do have to realize it's a tiny majority. But you got to get things done, and that's your job as Speaker. You got to rally the troops. You got to get the Republicans all the vote. If the Republicans vote, we're in good shape, and that's your job. That's why you're the Speaker. And the president has endorsed you, and everybody's behind you. So I get it. You're reminding us that it's a net, but do your job. Okay, that's like you send your best player out, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go get him, coach." But the other guy's pretty tall. No, I don't want to hear about the other guy being tall. I don't want to hear about the slight majority. Do your job. You're the Speaker of the House. You're third in line for the presidency of the United States. I don't like those little comments. Reminds me of Rush Limbaugh in the old days, Rush was so bright and he had such wisdom. And that was the kind of watch that comment. That's a little, you ever in sports, I coach, I always tell you, and competition's coming up and all of a sudden somebody's ankle hurts. Their ankle doesn't hurt. They're nervous about the competition and they're hedging their bets. My ankle hurts this way. If I don't perform well, I could blame it on the ankle. No. Nonsense. You focus and you perform. You don't focus on the competition. You don't focus on the injury. You don't focus on what could go wrong. You go perform.